to the 79th episode of PauseCast. It is April the 12th, 2018. I am Jessica Alouette, and I use she, her pronouns.
I'm Mark Hanna, I use he, him. Welcome.
Hey, Mark. Hey, how have you been?
Oh, it's been a week. How are you going?
It's been a week here, too. Bit rough for both of us for vastly different reasons.
Yeah, but there's always video games.
There is always video games, unfortunately and fortunately for us. I mean, like
What's the
I say
unfortunate bit?
unfortunate. You know, video games, they sure are a thing sometimes.
I mean, it's true.
The people who play them sure are. They sure do exist and sure do play video games sometimes.
People say.
I think we've established it's a myth. Do you want to talk about the
Don't break
video
character
games?
on the recording. Okay, just cut that in post. Sorry. Okay, now start again.
Yeah, in our fantasy world, where we play video games, what video games would you have played this week?
I played a bunch more Monster Hunter over the weekend. They're doing a big event right now where there's like a festival setting and all of the previous event quests that have been available, or almost all of them at least, are all available for like 2 weeks, as well as some extra stuff. So it's kind of a chance to go back and do that stuff again. And there's some special rewards for participating in this whole festival thing, which is pretty cool. So I played a bunch of that. I passed the Hunter rank 50 threshold, which I think is the second last threshold in the game. The last one is Hunter rank 100, so it will take a while to get there, considering it's taken me about 125 hours to get to Hunter rank 50. Sorry, the pause is because I can smell smoke and I know the fire's on downstairs, but my flatmate's downstairs too, so hopefully he'll yell if the house is on fire.
You would hope that your flatmate would yell if the house is on fire.
Yeah, so I went back and all of the special quests for special rewards that I either didn't do the first time round, or I did but not enough to get enough of the like tickets or whatever you need to make that special equipment. I've got all that now, so that was fun. It also meant that you could get the Street Fighter character Ryu without having to own Street Fighter 5 like you previously did in order to do the event quest. So that was also fun. It's fighting a giant Barroth, and I found that while you're mounted on its head with a hammer and you do your final swing, it's perfectly placed. You swing your hammer into its eye, so it was quite gruesome. But yeah, so bunch of Monster Hunter then. That was fun as always. I've now found and fought the Devil Joe. Which I think I found my first one on Saturday, or was it the week before? I don't remember. But yeah, it's I'm kind of happy with how the challenge has turned out. It hasn't been easy as I feared, and there's also the extra challenge of a tempered Devil Joe, which is available as an event quest. So
Ken Mark's flatmate is in the chat and has sent a message saying that there is a fire. Send help, which seems not legitimate because it's coming from Twitch chats.
I mean, I'd hope that wouldn't be the method of communication he'd choose. If that
I would hope. I would hope you wouldn't. Oh, is Mark on Twitch? Let me log on.
I think he's fighting the tempered Devil Joe that I was just talking about right now.
Oh, okay, yeah. It looks like he's saying it's super duper hard,
which is good. It should be. But yeah, no, that's it's good. There's some special things about which I hadn't anticipated, which I'm really glad they added. Such as it can pick up smaller, large monsters and use them as weapons in its mouth. And as we just found out this evening, while it's stuck in a pitfall trap, it can still attack. So monsters have never been able to do that in Monster Hunter before. So it's nice extra stuff to make it a challenge. And,
damn, that's a good fight.
Yeah, and just its music is fantastic. It's especially if you're not expecting, you've never seen Devil Joe before, it shows up and the music is just like the game telling you, you're fucked now, run away. It's just, it's real good. If you haven't heard Devil Joe music before, you got to experience it.
I imagine it's altogether more terrifying when you hear those music cues and you're already fighting another monster, and it's just like,
Yeah. And then the Devil Joe roars, like in with the just after the music starts, and you look over and you see it, and it's huge and it's hungry.
it's here to fuck up your day.
Yeah. When it was first introduced in Monster Hunter Tri, it showed up in the earliest high rank quests, which meant you were nowhere near strong enough to fight it at that point. Tri also introduced a monster called the Kurapika, which hasn't come back in subsequent games, but its special thing was it would mimic the calls of other monsters to bring them to its aid.
Oh my god, I remember those things.
It was a really clever mechanic. It made it kind of a hard,
so
a painful monster to fight sometimes, because it would do that and it would run away a lot. But it meant in high rank, it would summon a Devil Joe. So fighting this like weak little monster, you'd be like, okay, come prepared. Bring dung bombs to make it run away. So you're not fighting both in the same area. But yeah,
it's the most intense that just let me call my big friend, the big angry pickle, to my aid, and he'll listen to and obey me.
Also,
I speak his language.
There's an in-game joke of calling the Devil Joe a pickle now.
Oh my god.
It's pretty good.
I mean, it inevitably, if any community makes something a meme, eventually the developers will recognize it in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah. And I mean, I think Monster Hunter it's that sort of ridiculous comment that would definitely make it into the game. The handler has kind of a bit of a food obsession, so of course she's going to refer to it as a pickle.
Fuck. That's good.
Yeah, that's good.
That's a very good... It's a good setup.
Yeah. But yeah, so that was good. I also, later in the week, I've had my eye on a game called The Long Journey Home for a while. But it's been kind of expensive. It's been around $50, so I've sort of held off. And then it was half off earlier this week. I don't know if it still is or not. And I thought, screw it, I'll get it. And then I installed it and I started playing it, and then the power went out. So I've played like 40 minutes of this game. The reason why it appealed to me is it's a space game that's got, in one of its modes, it's got like an orbital kind of thing.
Okay.
Where you're flying a spaceship in a star system and it'll like be affected by gravity wells and you want to get in orbit around planets. And it's not like a simulation to this level of Kerbal Space Program or anything, but it's really nice to just see that sort of thing in a game. So I kind of had my eye on it for that purpose, but I haven't been able to play as much of it as I'd hoped, because I'd hoped to spend a lot of Tuesday evening on it. I just didn't in the end. We had, for those who don't know, in Auckland there was a pretty bad storm by our standards. A lot of power out. I was lucky enough to get it back the next day. There are a lot of people who, it's a couple of days later now and still don't have power back. But like when I was driving to work, there were fences blown down on my street. There was a brick wall that had been blown apart by the wind, just blown onto the footpath. So it was pretty intense. But yeah, it means that I haven't been able to play much of this cool-looking new video game, unfortunately. What I have played was fun, but you know, I barely scratched the surface of the start of the game, so it's hard to say that much yet.
So first of all, I can confirm that it is still on sale and will remain such until the 19th of April.
Cool, so it's another week.
A full week from now, yeah. It also looks like it was developed by the same studio that developed Shadow Tactics, Blades of the Shogun.
Oh, really? That's the other game that I picked up recently. I haven't actually gone back to that.
Yeah, it's published by Daedalic. Oh, it looks like it was just published by the same studio.
Okay.
Developer on Shadow Tactics was Me Productions. The Long Journey Home is developed internally by Daedalic.
Right. Okay. No, I hadn't made that connection.
Interesting little detail, though.
Yeah. So one kind of unfortunate thing I noticed is they've got a nice little like cinematic story setup trailer, but then it would have fit really well in the game, but it's just missing. And the game kind of felt like it didn't give you much leading to the story, which was odd because I thought they were going to do the same kind of stuff as in that story trailer, but either I somehow missed it or they didn't. But the gist, as I understand it, is it's a generated universe where you're the first human spaceship that can like jump past light speed or whatever, and something goes wrong, and you end up on the opposite side of the galaxy to make your way home. It's the long journey home, going from star system to star system across this generated universe, and there's like aliens and random planets you can go and send your lander down onto to collect materials and stuff like that. But yeah, I just haven't been able to sink my teeth into it yet, so there's not much I can say.
It definitely sounds like it's going to be like right up your alley for starters.
Yeah,
so that's very good.
They've got a few different flying modes. They've got like one for the lander where you're on a planet with gravity. They've got the one where it's like orbital stuff, and they've got like debris field kind of stuff where you're using a ship. One thing I do need to try is getting my PS4 controller to work with it, because apparently, and according to the game, and I can definitely believe this, it's better with a controller than with a keyboard. It's keyboard and mouse otherwise, where like the mouse is the cursor is the direction your ships are trying to point in, and then you like go forward and back.
Yep.
Instead of, I can imagine the analog sticks would give you a lot more control over like the level of thrust and stuff like that. So I need to try that out next time.
Yeah, it sounds like the way that you're describing the controls, it does sound like it would be a lot better with a controller. Dual stick stuff in general, where you have like the mouse doing one thing and the keyboard doing directional controls or something like that, dual stick stuff tends to be better on a controller as a rule.
Yeah, and just you get that sort of the level of thrust that you wouldn't get on a keyboard, kind of like with driving games.
Yeah, there's a level
off.
of precision that you can expect.
Yeah, I haven't actually tried getting my PlayStation controller to work with my computer yet. From what I remember, back when the PS4 was new, it's supposed to be way easier than the real hassle you had to go through with a PS3 controller. I know that it's apparently been pretty straightforward for Xbox controllers for a while, but that makes sense because Microsoft makes Xbox and Microsoft makes Windows.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently it's meant to be pretty straightforward with a PS4 controller and Windows, so I'm looking forward to trying that out. Hopefully it won't be a pain.
It's reasonably straightforward, speaking from experience.
Okay, it's good to know.
There is still like a third-party program that you'll need to have open and running for it.
Right,
in a lot of cases. The controller support is not perfect by any means. There is a few games that do it really well, but they don't require the third-party stuff, but some do require it.
I'm hoping that this game that's meant to be played with the controller will just work, but I'll see.
Either way, I can help you get set up on that.
Cool. I mean, I don't imagine I'll be using it that much, because I like mouse and keyboard generally on computer.
Yeah,
but
likewise.
I mean, when a game is kind of built for that, yeah, I'll see if I can get it going.
Speaking of liking mouse and keyboard a little bit better than controllers, should I talk about what I've been playing this
what
week?
have you been playing?
Okay, so my usual, first of all, Overwatch, which has an event going on of its own right now. Bringing the only story that the game ever really has back online for a little bit. In its what was called Uprising last year, when I didn't participate in it, and it's called Overwatch Archives this year. So it's brought back the player versus environment mode that happened last year, which was called Uprising.
That was like a Halloween thing, wasn't it?
There's a Halloween one as well, but this one was a recreation, they called it, of one of Tracer's first missions in Overwatch, and it was at the attack on King's Row.
So you're playing as Tracer?
You can play as Tracer or some of the other characters and participate in that story event. And there's unique dialogue and unique enemies, and it's against AI rather than against actual players. Mm-hmm. So it's a very different mode.
So is this only available temporarily?
Yes, this is only available temporarily.
That seems a shame. If it's like a single-player story mode, it seems weird to only make that available for a limited amount of time.
Story mode is definitely an exaggeration. Like the Halloween events, it's really just one mission that you can replay as the different characters that are preset for that story. Mm-hmm. There is also an all-heroes mode that lets you choose from anyone in the roster, which is very fun to experiment with.
Still, seems weird to me to make that limited. I can understand with the Halloween thing because that's really clearly an event, but with story, it just, I don't know, it seems really weird to me. Like, if I came to this game a few years later, it had story stuff. It's gone now. No, it seems weird to me.
It'll be back again next year, but like,
But it'll be different.
Yeah, it'll definitely be weird. There's also another aspect of story that was added this year, a different PvE story mission, which is very cool. I've played through both of them last night.
Mm-hmm.
That was a good time. I'm with you on that. Like, I wish they kept these modes permanently. Like, they're good fun. But I imagine I'll have to dive into like Vermintide if I want to get my fix on that stuff.
Vermintide, is that related to Overwatch somehow?
No, that's related to Warhammer, but it's got that PvE goodness that I crave.
Okay.
Another game that has that PvE goodness that I crave is Destiny 2.
You been playing some of that?
Yeah, I picked it up for $10 on PC. So it was an excuse to, 10 New Zealand dollars. I want to be very clear about the like value of the currency here. 10, like, it's not a lot of money. And so I got a copy of Destiny 2 that I could play in 60 FPS and have all the like nice features of PC. And let me tell you, that game is so much more fun to play on PC than it is on console.
Just with a mouse and keyboard?
Just with a mouse and keyboard, like, it feels right. Destiny feels
shooters
at home
are way better
PC.
with a mouse.
Absolutely. Like I learned from my mistakes that I made in Overwatch. In the early days of that game, I was playing with a controller against mouse and keyboard players, and I was doing fine. But like once I started actually like elevating my mouse and keyboard game, that was when I like really started getting into it. And Destiny is definitely in that same camp. All of the problems for hardcore players are still very much there.
What are those?
Of course, there's issues with like the actual amount of content and the amount of stuff that high level players can actually do on like in any given session. Really,
is that a problem that only comes up in the end game, or is that while you're
it does come in? It comes up in the end game because it's quite limited. During the like main game, you have a whole cinematic campaign, and there is a lot of stuff to do. But by the time you reach the end game, all of the adventures that you can run, which are like little mini missions, are one-time things. So unless you reset them and just run the same content again, you're not getting anything out of that. And even then, you're not really getting any rewards for, if you rerun this many adventures in a week, you'll get this exclusive reward. Or with the Nightfalls, there used to be, in Destiny 1, there was weapons that were exclusive to Nightfalls, which are ultra-hard versions of strikes. And they have one Nightfall on a weekly basis that you can run, and you can get unique rewards in Destiny 1. Destiny 2, you can't get unique rewards for it. They're just, like, pulling from the same loot pool.
Are you up to that in-game point on PC yet?
I'm not up to that point on PC, like... I just know that once I reach the end game point, like, those problems are going to start surfacing.
Right. Yeah.
But, like, it's good fun for now, especially for $10.
Yeah.
The Dr. Mittens in the chat also correctly points out Eververse shenanigans, which is true. The mod system is kind of broken. The shader system is kind of broken in a way that a lot of people don't like. I can't say I agree with them necessarily.
Is that the one that you have to buy the shaders, or they're single use or something?
They're single use, yeah. And then after that, there's no real way to recover the shaders, but it allows for a level of flexibility that wasn't really in Destiny 1, where when you applied a shader, it didn't go away, but it applied it to your whole character.
Oh, can you apply it to only certain parts now? Something.
You have to apply it to each individual part.
Oh.
So you can, it gives you the option to, if you want to, make a butt ugly, you can have a butt ugly guardian that has a shader on each individual part there, but each of those is going to cost you a shader. Where Destiny 1, you didn't have disposable shaders, and you could apply them at any time and just change them out, and it didn't cost money or anything to do, which it costs the in-game currency to do
that
shaders
sounds good
now.
to me, to have it free and reusable.
Yeah, but the caveat there was it was only on, it was across the whole character, and you didn't have the option to just customize individual parts with, oh yeah, I want my helmet to be blue and I want my chest to be red or whatever.
I mean, that also sounds good. If only they could have the best of both worlds.
Yeah, if only they could have the best of both worlds. That'd be something to consider, I think. But if they did that, then they wouldn't be able to sell the shaders in the Eververse, which allows you to purchase them with real money and microtransactions.
Boo!
To a point, but yeah, it's the Eververse is kind of shitty, as it turns out.
I mean, if making these things available
good,
for money means that it's shit for people who don't want to pay money for that cosmetic stuff, especially when in previous games it wasn't necessary, that's just a pain in the ass. Having microtransactions isn't always a bad thing, but when it means that they can't improve a feature because it would make it unfair for the people who paid for this stuff with microtransactions, that's just kind of crap.
Yeah, it just all kind of falls apart. It's unfortunate. Those problems will resurface once I get into the high levels of Destiny, but right now I'm gonna coast along. I'm gonna have a good time and not think too much about Guardian fashion.
Fair enough.
Or the mediocre expansion that I don't have on PC.
Was the Destiny 2 expansion not that great?
That first one was not very good.
That's a shame.
It really is, and I hope the second one is better.
Is it soon?
But yes, it is very soon. In fact, I believe next month on the 5th.
Do you plan on getting that for PC or
I already own
PS4
I already own the expansion pass on PS4, so I'll probably just play it there.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's like I already have the main game with the season pass over on console, so like this is just like, I wanted to experience the year one stuff and play the game in a nice 60 FPS and be able to play it at my PC. And then when the year 2 stuff rolls around, I will probably pick up the year 2 expansion and stuff like that on PC as a single package rather than having to buy the expansion pass and then later on buy the next major expansion when that's announced. Probably E3 this year.
You reckon?
Yeah, I
suppose
reckon.
they have kind of a yearly cycle of that, so it makes sense.
Yeah, like I think the Destiny 1 schedule was there was 2 major expansions in year 1, which were The Dark Below and House of Wolves. Then in year 2, they announced at E3 that there was a major expansion. That was The Taken King. That was essentially Destiny 2.0 when they reworked a lot of that game to make it work for a wider audience, and they did really well with that. And then that was their only DLC for the year. It was just the one major expansion. And then year 3 was the same plan, another one major expansion, Rise of Iron. So we expect that the Destiny community at large, I think, expects that will be the case with Destiny 2. We'll see a major expansion announced at at E3, and we'll see another one next year for the year 3 stuff, and we'll see where we go from there.
Do you think it's going to be the same length between Destiny 2 and presumably Destiny 3? No, are they doing Destiny 3?
I think it probably will be, but we might see another year or 2 of Destiny 2. Bungie has said that they had a decade-long plan for Destiny as a franchise, which we're into the 4th year of, with Destiny 2 in its first year.
It's making me think now how long some other franchises have been going for. When was Assassin's Creed 1?
2007.
So that's over 10 years now.
Yep, that's over a decade old.
I mean, Final Fantasy's well over a decade.
Oh yeah, Final Fantasy's had a 25th anniversary celebration.
Yeah, Pokemon as well. But what other franchises? What are they around the 10-year mark, I wonder?
Yakuza was about 10 years old.
Okay.
Yeah, that Yakuza 0 opens up with a 10th anniversary project begins. Little title crawl. So, Yakuza's 10 years old, which is wild. That's a great series, by the way. A little bit more this week, but not very much.
Far Cry 1 was 2004.
Wow.
Far Cry 1, again, we talked about this last week, I think. I haven't played it, but I think it was quite different to the subsequent ones.
Yeah, I believe it, like, Far Cry 1 was developed by by Crytek, and so it was like a precursor to Crysis, which I believe was 2007 as well.
Right. Far Cry 2, which you might look at as like the start of the current Far Cry franchise, I guess, in that respect, was 2008. So, around 10 years.
I think a lot of people actually consider Far Cry 3 because Far Cry 2 had a lot of mechanics that were not present in all other iterations past 3. Like
I just like Far Cry 2.
Jamming and stuff. I really like Far Cry 2 as well. I'm totally with you. But I'm just pointing out, like, a lot of people do consider Far Cry 3 to be, like, the beginning point of modern Far Cry games.
I can definitely understand that, to be honest. I just really like Far Cry 2. And also, it fits the Sultania thing we were talking about.
Yeah. I also love Far Cry 2. It's good. It's a good game. People should play it. People should give that game a chance. Even if it's a bit rough on the edges. But I think it's got some unique and interesting things.
I just love the map. The Witcher 1,
you
also
just
2008.
love that physical map so much.
It was so nice. Why did they get rid of it? It was so good.
I don't know. It's really fucking perplexing. Bring back physical maps in video games.
Yeah. The Witcher 1 was also 2008, so that's another one that's
okay.
A decade-ish.
You know what I do like, though? Mm-hmm. So Breath of the Wild has like an in-world justification for how its map and such works, because it's like, oh, I'm pulling it up on my Sheikah slate, the like tablet that I have.
Your Magic iPad.
Yeah, your Magic iPad, which I love that Magic iPad so much, let me tell you. But it does that. It has an in-world justification for,
it doesn't have a hand-waved map that's in a pause menu kind of thing, right?
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah. Watch Dogs 2 has an in-world justification for its map because it's pulled up on your mobile phone, and so it's styled like a mobile phone UI.
Horizon Zero Dawn had a bunch of in-game UI. Like in-universe UI from the Focus, but it wasn't all in-universe.
Yeah.
What's the other one? I was just thinking of another one that I can't remember. I suppose
the Focus is a really cool thing.
Technically, Assassin's Creed is all in-universe UI.
I mean, yeah, technically, there is a layer of abstraction which allows there to be a UI.
It's because you are technically playing a person playing a video game.
Yep. That's basically it.
I mean, honestly, it's the worst justification for an in-universe UI, but it is one.
It works for me.
There you
go. Let's shift gears. What do you want to talk about next?
Good question.
Got any thoughts on God of War?
Yeah, I haven't really been following that. I've only played one of the old God of War games, but this has changed quite significantly from that, it looks like. They looked a lot more arcadey than what... I mean, all I've seen from this one is... I think it was the E3 footage from when it was announced, basically.
The reason I bring it up is all the reviews just dropped for that game.
Oh, is it coming out real soon?
It's coming out on the 20th, on 420. That's legit. It's coming out on April 20th. It's coming out on 420. We're gonna get the new God of War on 420. And all the reviews just dropped a week and a little bit ahead, and came out with a 95 out of 100 on average.
That's pretty high.
That's very high. I'm really interested in that game, tentatively. It looks like it's got a cool setting. It looks like it's going to be vastly different from the previous God of War games.
Yeah, I'm definitely way more interested in this one than I ever have been in a previous God of War game, but that's a low bar.
I mean, like, I was talking with Ash about this earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the old God of War games didn't necessarily appeal to me because, like, Roman and Greek mythology isn't the most interesting thing to me.
Yeah, I can agree on that, and for me personally.
And she pointed out that I like totally enjoy games that are in the same space as those early God of War games. Like I enjoy Darksiders, I enjoy Devil May Cry, I enjoy Bayonetta, but I think those games have always kind of thematically clicked with me more so than I think God of War has the capacity to.
I mean, another thing that God of War has always had at its core is uber violence, like excessive. Like, you kill an enemy by ripping them in half, what with a close-up of you ripping them in half, kind of thing.
Yeah.
That has kind of kept me from getting excited about them, if I'm honest.
And it looks like this one's got, like, a story with a bit more emotion.
Yes.
And, like,
and I mean,
variants.
I'm sure it's still got a lot of violence, but at least now that it's more photorealistic, they probably won't have as much ripping enemies in half with a close-up.
It looks like there's more monster-type enemies than anything, rather than human-type enemies, which were, I believe, the primary type of enemy that you would see in God of War.
Were they? I didn't think so, but it's been a long time since I played a God of War game.
Maybe, yeah. I'd have to talk to Ash about that.
Fair enough.
But I think there definitely seems to be more creature enemies than there is human enemies. And the setting looks gorgeous. They've shifted everything to more Norse-inspired.
I mean, the whole thing... Well, I mean, the story has kind of got that focus as well, right?
Yeah.
It seems like every God of War game, I think he goes through killing a different pantheon kind of deal. It's weird.
I don't think there is any vengeance against the gods in this particular one, though.
Oh.
I could be wrong.
Cool. I mean, we'll see. I don't know. I have no idea.
I have no idea what to think about this game yet. But people have got their hands on it. They seem to like it.
Cool. It's good.
Definitely interested.
I definitely thought it looked really nice when I saw the E3 stuff.
Oh, yeah. It looks great. Speaking of looking great, and a thing that didn't look great at launch, just straight up looked actually quite awful because it was a port of the mobile version with no adjustments whatsoever.
No, it did have a bad adjustment to make things worse.
Oh, no, I'm pretty sure the mobile version just had that.
I thought the problem was that it had the text and the touch UI overlay from the mobile version, but also they had added the smoothing algorithm to the graphics.
It had that too, and then the mobile port also had the smoothing algorithm and new assets randomly, from what I understand.
I don't know about new assets. I know there was a smoothing algorithm, but I don't think that was on the mobile version, because why would you? It's a small screen anyway.
Weird. Chrono Trigger has been fixed on Steam. They have added a significant patch to remove some of the stupid UI, to make keyboard controls more clear, and to make the font much more in the style of the game. They've given it a nice pixely style font.
To make it feel more like Chrono Trigger. It was weird.
It feels more like Chrono Trigger. Yeah, I think it's weird that absolutely wasn't a priority.
Yeah, I mean, it was never meant to be a remake or a remaster or anything, so I don't know why they decided to change that stuff. People have been playing it on PC screens on an emulator for years. That's how I first played it. And it's great at that. I mean, it's obviously pixel art, don't expect photorealism when you play it. But it's gorgeous pixel art, and pixel art should look like pixel art? I don't know.
Yeah, like... I don't know why Chrono Trigger was ever fucked with. That was a bizarre choice, truly.
I mean, games from that era that have been remade for mobile have kind of a recent history of being messed with. Like, there was it Final Fantasy VI got a remake that was just real bad on phones? Like, they'd redone the assets, but it looked like they'd each been redone in a different style. like the characters didn't mesh with the backgrounds anymore. It was all real weird and not in a good way.
I don't know too much about that specific port, so I can't really...
That's fair. It's fair. I don't remember
really
if it's been changed or fixed at all. But it was definitely, at least when it came out, it was not great. And it might have also been the case if it was on PC. But this is one of those ones where I haven't felt the need to buy it on PC because I've got other ways of playing it. So I haven't experienced that firsthand, but I've read about it.
Yeah, anything else to hit up this week? I don't really have anything right now.
Nothing's coming to mind. I haven't been able to play that much aside from those two, and unfortunately, due to circumstances, don't have much more to say about them.
Yeah. I think
nothing's coming to me.
I think it might be a short episode this week.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, nothing else is coming to me.
Yeah, I don't really have anything else either.
It happens.
All right. Well, since we can't really think of anything else to talk about, it looks like it's going to be a short episode this week. Thank you for tuning in to the show.
Before that, what are you looking forward to playing?
Yep, you got me right before I was about to say that.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Good save. I mean...
You crushed that save.
Yeah. Go
on. This week I'm looking forward to spending a little bit more time with that Overwatch event that's happening. Looking forward to maybe playing some Vermintide over the weekend. And seeing where that goes.
Nice.
Yeah. We've got a couple DLCs to finish up with Ash that have just been sitting there for a while, and then we might look at Vermintide too. How about you? What are you looking forward to playing?
I mean, I'll probably do some more of that Monster Hunter event over the weekend. See if I can get enough of the special rewards to make the full armor set that's sort of associated with this event, at least. I'm sure I'll play more of the Long Journey Home because I just bought it and haven't been able to play much of it. I still don't know if this is going to be the week where I buy the Horizon DLC. Excuse me, when I buy the Horizon DLC or not. I still mean to do that.
You have been sitting on that for a while, eh?
I have. It's just I want to... I've got a bunch of projects going on in the background and I kind of want to wait for a week where that's all quiet.
Yeah.
But, all right. Yeah.
Sweet. Well, hey, thank you for playing... Thank you very much for listening to this week's episode of PauseCast. If you would like to support the show, we have a multitude of ways that you can do that. The first is by rating or reviewing the show on your platform of choice. This helps us with visibility and makes us feel good. We read your reviews when they come in as well, so make sure to get a review up. You can also support us directly and financially by contributing to our coffee at bit.ly/pausecastcoffee, or by supporting us month to month on our Patreon. Patrons get access to some exclusive rewards. We have a Discord role that you can get set up with on my server, with a little chat area that I've got set up, and you'll get access to bonus content when that comes out, like our upcoming video series. I think we should start doing that probably, I'm thinking May is when we'll probably start rolling a couple of those out as an experiment. How's that sound to you, Mark?
Oh, I'm doing the nodding thing again. You'd think I'd learn, but I'm apparently not. Yeah.
You gotta get a script ready for your thing.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah, we're planning on doing 2-minute scripted videos. Do a few of those. Talk about some small things that we really love and show them off visually. And like I said, we'll see where we go on that, but that's going to be bonus content that's going to debut on our Patreon first. Thank you very much to all of our patrons: Ash Yee, Dove, Mary, Sammy, Para, Alodrain, Corey Bat, Residoke, Laminated Moth, and PD for their continued support of the show.
Thank you.
What else we got going on? We have Twitters. We're online elsewhere. Us, the hosts. Mark, where can people find you online?
I'm on Twitter at HonestUniverse, and I write a blog as well, though not about video games, at honestuniverse.com.
And you can find me online at bird.school, and you can find me streaming week to week at maximumgun.org. Thank you to Leon for the use of our theme song, Honey Milk Island. You can find Leon's music and download some of it for free at soundcloud.com/LEYAWN. And that is going to do it for us this week on PauseCast. Again, thank you so much for listening to us every week. We really appreciate it. Until next week, thank you again, and bird up.
Bye.